this is technically the first full week of the Starstruck Quilt Along. And I'm just going to show you guys kind of real quick what my plan is and how I plan to tackle this. First of all, I have mixed emotions about cutting the whole project at once. And I hope you guys can see this okay. But I think it is helpful because sometimes you just don't know what you're getting yourself into and it can cause you to miscut. So what I do is I take the blog post and I pull it into my iPad using GoodNotes. And then what I do is, especially for this week, since it's all cutting, is that I go through and I read the entire blog post and make notes. So, for example, here, I looked at the pictures and she has it noted for each of the sections, and I listed the most important colors in order since I am using fat quarters and I have a bunch of fat quarters that are the same. So for example, it may end up being that my block 1 and my blocks, the 10 fabric, so 1 and 10 may end up being the same. And then and then also I listed it based on what would take up the most fabric, in the sense that you see here that you have 9 4 times. So I want to make sure that I'm not doing it with one that maybe, for example, has a fat eighth. I want to do that one with one that I have a full fat quarter for, and if possible that I have 2 for. The next thing that I do is I go further into the pattern and I mark the sections that I need to pay attention to. So I'm doing the fat quarter friendly option. So I go through and I mark all the fat quarter friendly options. And another thing that I did, and this was as a secondary after I went through, was that I marked because I wanted to know what were the largest pieces that I would encounter, because I really like the look of this and I could see myself doing it scrappy. But let's say, for example, here that you have a 4.5 inch square, 4 inch, and then later on, so what I was doing with this, the secondary color was marking some of the largest pieces in the fabric cutting. So here, for example, it's 2.5 by 9.5. So if I'm planning to do it scrappy, I may need to be mindful of that, or make sure that I have scraps that are like from jelly rolls or something like that. And you could do that with this one. But then there is another one. Let me go a little bit further. And that was another note, and I'll take you back there. This 3.5 by 13. So little things like that I want to know. And then another thing is, for example, here you cut these squares and then you need to cut them diagonally. And I made sure that I made a note to myself, because when I go through this and I actually cut them, I tick them off. But I don't want to cut that in half now. I want to cut that in half the week that I need to do it, so that I won't run into the whole bias edge things or accidentally stretch it out of proportion. The last thing that I did, let me back up, and I hope this doesn't turn out too dark, but is I go through and I make notes for myself. And so here, for example, she reiterates several times to make sure that you cut the lap and the queen last. So I made sure that I wrote that out. I want to cut one first, and then also she made a note that you may want to cut 2 and 5 and 3 and 6 together. I'm sorry, I'm losing focus because I'm moving around too much. And then I go through and read. This is when I read the rest of the blog. I highlight the things in yellow that I just need to make note of, and I highlight the things in pink that are important. Here, when she talks about which side of the fat quarter to cut first and then which side she recommends cutting second, I always mark things like that because I don't like a lot of waste. And especially in this case, since I am using scraps, or leftover fat quarters, I want to be mindful of how I cut my fabric. And here was that, that 2 and 5 and 3 and 6 note. And I think I have one final note a little further in here. Oh, another thing that I did, and it's not here, is I made sure that I saved the different sections of the quilt in my pictures. So the lap versus the queen versus, so that I can see for myself where the partition here lies. And I may actually end up copying this page in my iPad and actually blocking off in different colors so that I know on each week where the build out takes place. And that's also helpful for me when selecting which fabrics to cut for which weeks. The final thing that I know I am going to do is before I even start cutting, I'm going to make some little pieces or little paper with each of the numbers marked so that I can keep everything aligned. And knowing me, I will probably cut everything except for the really large pieces and put them in sheet protectors marked by the number, because she does have them numbered well. So I would have all the sixes and all the fives or something like that. Or well, not sixes and fives, I take that back, marking it by the size, like the lap, the picnic, the queen, the king, and so on. So I hope that this is helpful. Let me know if you need to see how to get it into your iPad. If you do use an iPad, if you do not use an iPad, you can do something similar. Just printing it, in black and white on your printer, and then saving the color pictures in your phone or on your computer. bringing you in a little closer so that we can take a look at these fabrics. This is kind of something that I have to trust the process, because once I cut my background fabric and I look at them against the different colors that I have, can you see this? Here we go. The different background color, the different fabrics that I have to decide if I think it's going to clash, if I think it's going to pop. I have these two different teals, and I know, well, I'm certain that in the middle of the quilt, I want it to be teal, just because it's my favorite color. And when you look at one, I want it to be teal, and it will also be ones here. And I know that I'm going to use the other teal color at 9. So I have to decide if I want it to do this diamond print or this circle print. And I'm kind of taking the background fabric into consideration with the map theme, but I also have to think about how I'm going to incorporate the other colors. I also wanted to make sure that I introduce the purple soon, and I'm introducing this coral slash, I'm using a coral pink, orangey kind of colors to pair with that color scheme. And so because of introducing those other colors, there's also a yellow that I'm going to introduce. Here it is. There's this like yellow that I'm going to introduce, and I'll make sure not to probably put it too close to this coral color, but all of them kind of play off of this fabric. And so even though I think this fabric may clash a little bit, I'm going to use this as my number 1 fabric, because it really does make all the other colors appear to match. Now, there is no purple in this fabric. However, the purples that I have and that I'm planning to kind of splash in there are very just kind of not neutral, but very calm. The other purple is a little stronger. I don't have it over here, and I don't want to go get it again. It's a little stronger, so that's why I did this one, just to kind of keep them, it's soft yet makes a statement, and so I don't have any other words other than that. So I'm going to go with this as my number 1. I'm going to go with the other teal as my number 9, and then the other colors I will go from there, because I'm going to be cutting 1 through 6 today. So that means I will probably touch a little bit of all of these colors just in these first 2 blocks, so that I can then work them in more later. And because there are a lot of repeats, the 4, the 5, the 4, 5, and 6 are here. So I know that this is 1. I'm going to do purple as my 2, and I'm going to do the coral as my 3. And so that will take care of that first one. And the only other main color that I will need to introduce will be this gold color. So I might make that 5. And I actually should mark all of this. So looking at this, and then that means that 6 again may be a repeat of 1. It may be a repeat of 1. So make 6. Oh, I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger so I can see. I'm going to make 1 and 6 the diamond teal, and then I said I'm going to make 2 light purple, and actually I may make 5 the yellow, and make 2, oh, I put 2 light purple, and then 3 is coral, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4 ooh, dark purple. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 is light purple, teal, And then the corners will be coral. Yeah, that'll be great. And then the background, then there'll be, and so then all I have left is 7, 8, 9, 10, and those come later. But I think that'll give me some good distribution. And adding that this loud one again back in the corners, I think that's also going to help that center one blend a little bit more. And then I know for sure number 9, I want to make the circle teal so that I can bring it in, and that'll be also another prominent color. So that'll be teal, 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 and then those two wings, the 7 and the 8, I would do. I would probably do one. Let's see, where is 3? 3 is here. 3 is there. So I'll probably do 7 as one of the corals color. Oh, I have one that's this flower. Uh-oh. Here we go. I'm gonna put coral flower. Y'all, this is very sloppy, but this is just so that I won't have to think about this again. And 8 will be, I guess I need to introduce another gold. So I'll do this gold. I'll do the triangle yellow. So that's, and then the last will be 10. 10 are little guys. And I think for 10, I would bring back in the light purple. Did I do light purple twice? No. 10, I'll do the light purple. I could have did those as the gold. And then the 7, that'll be coral. 1 is teal. 8 would be yellow. I think I'm going to swap these. I said coral. Take these yellow triangles. And I'm going to move that for a second. And then I said for 10, because I think that'd be pretty cool to have those little bitty stars, have them yellow, like true stars. There we go. So that's what I have. 10 will be, and because the piece is so small there, I'm gonna swap this yellow. I hope you guys can see this well. I'm sorry. Let me, you see the colors, but not what I'm doing. I'm gonna do it just a little bit closer. Sorry. Here we go. I'm swapping these colors here. And essentially what I'm doing is on 5. 5 has, 5 is right here. And I'm going to do the triangle gold, which is this one, since they're bigger pieces, because I was going to put them in 10, which are smaller pieces. They look like they're, oh, they're not stars. They're just little things. But I'm going to do this because I think it'll look better with the smaller fabric. So yes, Essentially, I'm using two variations of the purple, two variations of the teal, two variations of the yellow, and then the other colors I'll use when we get to all these extra funky colors all around there. But for now, I'm pretty satisfied with what I've come up with, and now I have my plan to take care of my back quarters. So what you're seeing here is not all of the fabrics, but almost all of the fabrics laid out for the Starstruck quilt. And what I've done so far is just put these little numbers on to match up with the back quarters. And it's nothing major. It was just a post-it note done in half so that it's not sticky anymore. And I just put numbers 1 through 10 since there are 10 different main back quarters to build up the, I want to say the blocks, but I guess the quilt. What I wanted to stop and show you though is the second part of what I showed you before, and I'm going to hold it up instead of recording the screen. So what I did is I showed you how I put the pattern into my iPad, and what I do is here, for example, I kind of color coordinated which of my fabrics that would satisfy each of these, and I literally took it section by section. So I would go and look, okay, what's fat quarter 4, and I went back to here and I had fat quarter 4 as my dark purple. So I would pull out my dark purple and put it on the side. Yeah, I scribbled those down there. And then what I would do is highlight that in purple and then pulled out the yellow fabric, pulled out the teal fabric. And so when I went to the cutting, I would know it was just those three. So when I saw purple or yellow or teal, I would know what fabrics they are. And as I do the cutting, I will check mark off which of the pieces that I have completed. I mean, what they say is you measure twice, cut once. So I ensure that I just take it one step at a time. I am currently on the, I'm gonna, they want, she suggests doing the lap and the queen last. So I'm finishing up the picnic, and as you see here, for example, I have 2 teals marked, and I know one teal is to match my centerpiece, which is a diamond teal, and the second teal that I have has circles on it. So what I did is just put a little circle off to the side. Up, yeah, you can see that, a little circle off to the side, so I know that was my teal with the circles. And then I just make my way through. The additional highlights are really just for myself. I was just trying to see what was the maximum, or what was the largest cut that I needed of particular fabrics before I paired them up with a certain color or fabric, just in case I didn't have a lot of it, since I had a bunch of scrappy packs that I used some of the fabric from. And so now I'm just going to finish up these last 4 cuts, but I wanted you to see that. And I am not cutting the background fabrics just yet. I'm going to actually go back and do the background fabrics up to the point that we're sewing for this week, and then I'll do the rest of the backing as I go. So here are all of the main color pieces for the top. I did not do the strips that kind of, let me show you. I'm going to do those last. Let me go to here. All of these like little jagged ones. See all those little jagged ones? There we go. All of those. I haven't done those yet, but I have plenty of fabric left for those. So what I'm actually going to do is go ahead and work on the background fabric for week 1 and week 2. And then I'm going to take it from there. Once I get to this where it's purple here, even though it's really not purple, of course, in the quilt, then I will go back to cutting this and cutting this. But for now, I am on my way. So here are all the background fabrics, the 10 ones for the first portion. And here are all the background fabrics for the second portion.
If I can't have you,
and here are all the
I don't want you to have anyone.
bits and doodads and where I
and
have
if you don't
cut,
want
and
me,
there's some blocks that are
there's something wrong with them, right?
ones that were just left
Maybe I
over
got
that
problems
I
that I don't tell anyone.
just these.
Have I lost my perception? Feel like I wanna do something wrong now.
So
Packing all your belongings. Say you wanna take some time, but if you say we'll meet again, why'd you have to take everything now? Baby, are you lying? Have you met